Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of your best friend's kitchen, your oldest, closest friend, reaching for something on the top shelf. A bag of flour, a box of cereal, it doesn't even matter. You do what you've always done. Grab a chair, climb up, handle it yourself. But this time, as you're standing there, balanced on a wobbly wooden seat, you hear a voice behind you. And it's not just teasing. It's not friendly. It's venom hidden behind a smile. I can't imagine being a midget like you. Everything freezes. The chair, your breath, the air in the room. This is someone who used to be your safe place. Someone who once cried with you during finals week and celebrated your small victories with big hugs. And now she's calling you that? Let me take you back. Gina and I met in our senior year of high school. We were just two girls, orbiting each other in different friend groups, until one day we collided, accidentally seated next to each other in AP Lit, assigned a group project we both didn't want. That's how most friendships start, right? You're just thrown together, and then suddenly, you're inseparable. We went to college together, roommates, late-night ramen, crying over exes, laughing until we were wheezing over the dumbest things. And yes, we had our differences. I'm small, 4'10" small. She's tall, 5'9", almost a foot between us. And while some might let that define a dynamic, we never did. We made jokes. We leaned into it. She'd grab things from high shelves like some Amazonian goddess, and I'd pass through crowds like a stealth ninja. We made fun of each other, but it always felt safe, equal, loving. Or at least, it used to. Things started to shift when Gina met Jason. Jason was average height, 5'10" maybe. They looked great together, and she was glowing. I hadn't seen her that happy in a long time. She'd talk about him for hours. His voice, his kindness, the way he opened car doors. But after a few months, I noticed the gushing slowed, and the complaints began. It started with something small. We went to this formal, and I wore heels, and I was taller than him. It felt weird. I nodded, offered comfort. I mean, I've lived my whole life being shorter than everyone around me. I get the body insecurity. I know how hard it is to feel different. But her comments didn't stop there. They snowballed. What started as passing remarks about her heels grew into subtle jabs at Jason. She'd tease him to his face about being too short. It made me uncomfortable, especially because I knew how much that kind of stuff can hurt. So, I pulled her aside one day, gently. I told her she might be projecting something deeper, and she actually agreed. She admitted she'd always felt weird about her height. That growing up, kids teased her. That influencers on Instagram had made her feel less feminine. I told her it didn't have to be that way. That height didn't define beauty. She nodded, promised to ease off. I thought it was over. But a few weeks later, that moment in her kitchen happened. I was grabbing something, like I've done 1,000 times. And when I stood on the chair, she said it. I can't imagine being a midget like you. And smiled. But that smile? It didn't match her tone. It was sweet on the outside and bitter underneath. Something cracked in me. I didn't say anything that day. I didn't know how. I just laughed. That fake robotic laugh people do when they're trying to stay composed. And I brushed it off. But the jabs kept coming. Quiet ones. Sharp ones. Dressed up as jokes. But each one landed harder than the last. And I let them. Because I thought, maybe she's hurting. Maybe things with Jason are going badly. Maybe she needs grace. But there's only so much grace you can give before it starts to cost you your dignity. Then came the breaking point. We were hanging out at her place, and she threw out another comment. I don't even remember the exact words, but it was another one of those little punches disguised as banter. And this time, I didn't laugh. I looked her in the eye and said, calmly, respectfully, that I didn't like the way she was talking to me. And what did she do? She didn't apologize. She didn't ask why. She raised her voice. She told me I was too sensitive, like I was the problem, like I was wrong for drawing a line. And in that moment, something flipped. I snapped back, told her she was being rude, that this wasn't okay. And then, just like that, she started crying. Tears I'd seen before, but never quite like this. She told me that before we met, she was bullied about her height. That standing next to me made her feel physically uncomfortable. That she didn't feel like a woman when she was taller than her boyfriend or when we were side by side. And suddenly, I felt guilty. Because maybe in high school, I made some offhand comments. Maybe I joked a little too easily, not knowing how deep her insecurities went. Maybe I was the one who planted the seed. But guilt is a tricky thing, because it can make you forget who's really hurting whom. I went home that night and replayed every interaction in my head, every laugh, every moment I thought we were just joking, every time I let her words slide because I wanted to protect the friendship more than I wanted to protect myself. And now we haven't talked in days. Silence. No texts. No calls. Just distance. And I keep asking myself the same question over and over. Did I cross a line? Was I too harsh? Should I have stayed quiet? Or am I finally standing up for myself after years of brushing it all off? So, am I the asshole? This one hits different, doesn't it? Because sometimes friendship isn't about grand betrayals or blowout fights. Sometimes it's about 1,000 small cuts disguised as jokes, as just teasing, as things we're supposed to be strong enough to laugh off. But strength doesn't mean staying silent, and love doesn't mean tolerating cruelty just because someone else is hurting. Gina's pain is real. No one's denying that. The world hasn't been kind to tall women, and the beauty standards shoved down our throats can do damage in ways we don't always see. But your pain is real too. And just because someone else was once a victim doesn't mean they get to turn around and victimize someone else. This story isn't just about height. It's about boundaries. It's about when teasing stops being funny and starts being personal. And it's about finding the courage to say, that's not okay, even when it's someone you love. So now it's your turn. Have you ever stayed silent to keep the peace? Have you ever laughed off pain just to protect someone else's comfort? Let us know in the comments. Because the truth is, healing doesn't always come with hugs. Sometimes it comes with hard conversations. And sometimes it starts with walking away.